Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the benefit of the um, May 26th edition, 1991, of the Wrestling Challenge Review Series. Obviously, continuing to be a good enough series. We've got over 120 of these available. Probably by the time we're done, close to 200 episodes, I think, might be possible, which would be cool. Obviously, would love to have all 400 or so, but I don't think they'll ever all be up for viewing pleasure. Then we'll move on to another series in the new year. Would love to get up to 5,000 audios, which would require me to double and would require me to have more time in my year. Also run a coaching business, voiceover work, and all sorts of other fun things. So if you'd like more information, better way to go about that is Golden Opportunities Coaching, my main channel. In any event, we foray into May 26th, getting ready slowly for the SummerSlam season. Usually that starts sometime in June. And not a bad thing there to get ready for SummerSlam season. Second biggest pay-per-view of the year, of course, behind Mania, back when pay-per-views actually mattered because storylines actually built to crescendos. Anyway, we move forward. This is the 526.91 edition, hosted by Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, Jim Neidhart, special report segment, where Mr. Fuji is in a restaurant with Andre the Giant. Fuji trying to convince Andre to sign with him, and presents Andre with a cake, and Andre sends Fuji into the cake. Also, there is a promo by Tony Zincano preparing for the WBF Championship on June 15th, including Mr. Perfect as a guest on the Barbershop, discussing Davey Boy Smith being the number one contender for the Intercontinental title. Bushwhackers defeat the Brooklyn Brawler Dale Wolf 235. Luke pins Wolf after a double gutbuster after the bout. Bushwhackers cut a insert promo. Nothing necessarily great in that by any stretch of the imagination, but it serves its purpose to get people up and ready to come to the house shows around the time. Not that one would be terribly surprised by this, but it is what it is. And again, some gut busters, basic stuff, and the Bushwhackers are certainly willing to go at their opponents. Punch kick, and as mentioned, battering ram and gut buster 1, 2, 3, and away we go with that. Obviously, the battle for who's going to manage Andre the Giant, a pretty big deal at the time. Earthquake out next. Earthquake in the ring with an enhancement talent. I believe Tom Stone is his name. Of course, Earthquake been around for a couple of years now, and still remains a major mainstay in the stable of Jimmy Mouth of Stout Heart. Gary Richards is who he beats. He beats him with a sit-down splash after the bout. Jimmy Hart cuts an insert promo saying he'd be making the biggest announcement in the history of the WWF soon, which, of course, is the failed attempt to get Andre the Giant under contract to him. Power Slam and the Vertical Earthquake Splash, the main moves of this particular match, obviously extremely one-sided, and Earthquake manages to do what he can where he can as far as getting things going in his order. Of course, Earthquake still here in this day, age, and time a major force in the WWF. Not exactly that way, even going into WCW in a couple of years, but getting that money and doing what he needs to do. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat up next. Steamboat doing the fire-breathing dragon aspect of life, and Steamboat managing to punch and kick his way through a enhancement match, slides through the leg, shoulder tackles, arm drags, and the crossbody off the top rope. Steamboat really in this run, gone by right after SummerSlam or soon thereafter, hadn't been around very long. Almost like a week-to-week, month-to-month sort of deal for him comparatively. Of course, I don't think he was ever fully forgiven for his involvement with the leaving quickly after winning the Intercontinental title in 1987. Brian Costello, his opponent here, and he handles him with a top rope crossbody relatively simply and to the point. We move to the Orient Express with Mr. Fuji. This is the new additions, Tanaka and Kato with Mr. Fuji, Gary Jackson, and Dan Robbins. 119. Tanaka pins Robbins after German suplex bridge following a kick from Kato. Good double team maneuvers, and they're still running with the Rockers around the time as a tandem deal here, and ultimately managing to go in the direction of getting things going in a good way there. Punch, kick, and basic maneuvers, as it were. And we get some semblance of win for the Dragon. We go to the Event Center. Ultimate Warrior talks about being taken to the dark side by The Undertaker when he locked him in the coffin. Boston Garden, Saturday night, June 22nd, going to be main evented by Warrior and Undertaker, doing that at the time. I don't think they ever called this a body bag match. I think they reserved that at the time for the Boston market, or the New York market, and maybe some other places too, but I know they did a body bag match around the loop at the Garden. I think I've seen that one time, and Warrior kind of bringing the best out of him at that point. They are plugging the WBF match here, or upcoming pay-per-view here on June 15th, and trying to get people excited about that. I'm not sure that wrestling fans actually ever were. Greg Valentine facing off against, I believe, W.T. Jones. Valentine armbars and other, I guess you'd say, I wouldn't necessarily call them atypical moves, but certainly gets a submission with the figure four after a couple of hammer thrusts and working over the leg. Greg Valentine as a babyface in the WWF really doesn't work. Then we move to the Big Boss Man against Tom Stone. 239 hits the sidewalk slam, slides through the ropes. Insert promo from the Mountie in there as well. Boss Man also hits the Boss Man Slam, as would be expected, because, well, he's the Big Boss Man. Who else would hit that maneuver? But again, the Big Boss Man really pretty, I don't even know if aggressive is the right word. Also, we see, as mentioned, the barbershop Mr. Perfect promising to eliminate the British Bulldog from competition. Pretty aggressively stated here. Perfect, not exactly falling behind by any stretch of the imagination. And the Slickster out with Power and Glory. Power and Glory, of course, a major tag team at the time. Power and Glory wanting to get things going according to plan. And ultimately, they are a really decent tag team that I don't think Power and Glory ever went as far as they could have, but that's just me. Hercules kind of bushying up the hair a little bit, defeating Kevin Kruger and Dan Sigani. 318 Roma pin Kruger following the Powerplex, the Power Superplex. Also backbreakers by Roma, press slam by Hercules. Really basic maneuvers, but the team looks dominant, and that's what really counts. Once again, plugging the Ultimate Warrior at the Boston Garden, and we'll be back with more right after this.